My name is Jake, and this is West Ham. Oh, sorry, it just caught me dancing away to that music. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. 8 people in. Get your comments in. Dad's already commented. Hello, good evening. Happy New Year. We are hours away from getting rid of this horrible year 2020 and opening out to 2021. So this is the last video of 2020. And as you can see, we've had a bit of a change to the backdrop. This has made an appearance today through the post, this West Ham banner, so wall art thing. So I hope you like that in the videos. I'm trying to duck so I don't hide that, but I'm just growing and it's kind of covering it up. But we are going to go for a long show tonight. I'm pretty sure we're going to go over an hour tonight. So buckle yourselves in, get yourself a drink. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to have a alcoholic drink because I'm not over 18, but I've got a very nice squash that will do me very nicely. So a couple of comments. Pete, Happy New Year. A quiet one. Yes, it's a quiet one for everyone. And I'm going to sit in this chair and talk to a lot of people tonight. Phil, you're coming on tomorrow for the preview, so I'm looking forward to seeing you then. Hi, Jake. Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, Happy New Year. We're doing the preview with Phil, who's in the comments, and a Everton fan. I think it's 12 midday tomorrow. We're doing that, so that should be fun. But before we bring some guests on, I'd like to say, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial. I want to get to 500 subscribers as soon as possible, and I've just realised I've still got that one going, but we are West Ham Unofficial. So tonight we're going to literally just get straight into it. 7:35 onwards, we're talking West Ham United. Couple of great guests that has come on before. I'm going to give you a clue from at 7:35. He might have been on before, but yeah, and maybe we've got kind of a little bit of a appearance from somebody very close to 5,000 subscribers tonight. So a couple more comments. Likewise, can't wait, Phil. Hurry up, young Jake. It's already 2021 here. Yeah, New Year to you over in Australia. WMP. Go on, Jake. Have a little drink. No one's going to tell. Yeah, I'm sure that. Ollie, up the hammers. Thank you very much, Ollie. But I'm going to stop rambling now. We've got a couple of guests waiting in the wings. We've got Paul, who's a Liverpool fan, and we've got Rich as well. How are we tonight?
I'm well.
I'm well, thanks.
Happy New Year to you, Jake.
Happy New Year. It's been a bad year for us all, so we're going to shine a light tonight and hopefully have a bit of fun. Yeah. So let's get started. Rich, I'll start with you. Our second Tottenham fan we've had on the show, so we're going to start with you. So for you, you've never been on before, so how did you become a Spurs fan?
I think it's an age thing. I was born back in 1959, so as I was a youngster, Spurs were the team. They were the double winners in 61. They won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 63. And I guess that's where I got my Spurs leanings from. Nothing to do with where I live, because I'm a Somerset lad.
Yeah.
But very much grew up and have supported Spurs ever since.
Yeah. As a Spurs fan, I'm sure you haven't had many good memories in your time as a Spurs fan. But what's your favourite memory as a Spurs fan?
Well, winning cups is a good one for a start.
Oh, well, that's a bit hard for you, I think, isn't it?
Well, I think harder for you.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm used to not winning quite as often as I'd like to. We flatter to deceive a lot, and we chuck silly points away against average teams sometimes.
Yeah, well, that's not the Manuel Lanzini banger. That was not average, I can tell you that.
Was that 3-0 up with a few minutes to go?
Oh, I don't think we'll talk about that. Paul, coming to you then now. You're a Liverpool fan. How did you become a Liverpool fan?
Yeah, this is sort of late 70s. Of course, Liverpool were probably with Nottingham Forest about the best team in Europe then. Oddly enough, a big family, but hardly anyone really into football, which is not normally the case. Uncle got us into it. I can remember watching cup finals, sort of 79 Arsenal against United and the Alan Sunderland goal, and of course the following year I can remember your boys from playing in Division 2 at the time. I think when you won the cup in, but that was about it. He got us into it, and then it took us a few years, 1986, before I've seen the Reds live. That was how things had changed. Stamford Bridge, three quid to get in, penultimate game of the season, Liverpool to win the league. My favourite player at the time, and probably still ever, great Kenny Dalglish, Jim Beglin knock on, chest it down, volleys it in the corner, and Liverpool win the league. And 3 quid to get in at Stamford Bridge. I mean, to win the league. I mean, a few years later, 2014. I think the tickets were going for £2,500, you know, with a Gerrard slip. That's how football and what Sky's done to it. That's how it started for me, and lucky enough to see great games like that. I was at Istanbul for the 2005 Champions League final, and 2006, of course, against your boys, the Gerrard final. That was a magnificent game, and best performance I've ever seen from a player. I think that Gerrard in that final, and the Newcastle 4-3s in 96 and 97, the game of the decade, game of the century, the 96 Liverpool 4-3 against Newcastle. So lean times after, but as this gentleman will tell you, that's the time when you support them when you're not winning things, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, Jake should know about that, shouldn't
he? Yeah, Jake does, and I'm sure there's a lot of West Ham fans in the comments that know that as well. We're doing well this season, but
we are
doing well.
So you are. I looked at the league, and you're closer to the team at the top. I can't remember their name. You're closer to them than you are relegation zone. So I don't. Am I being a bit off saying that? But at the end of the day, would have you accepted that now at the start of the season? Would you have accepted that at this stage?
Yeah, definitely. I think all West Ham fans went into this season very pessimistic, I think. And what a start we've had, and fair play to Moyes. He's had his bad moments so far in the couple of, in the last week or so, but
brilliant.
Don't really know what to do with ourselves, really. But so talking about Liverpool, Paul, how do you rate your kind of season so far?
It's I mean, this is how things change. You were talking about winning things. I mean, throughout the mid-90s and most, in the 2000s and the 2010s, that being anywhere near sort of certain teams trying to win the league at this stage would be over the moon. But in fact, the fact that they're only 3 points above, and games and teams could sort of go level point, shows on what they're doing at the moment. But I think they talk about injuries, but I don't think people, well, I'm sure they do, but the fact that when they played Everton, that was a big game, and they talk about the Van Dijk injury, but of course Thiago was injured and out for 3 months in the same game with a horrendous tackle by the Brazilian Richarlison or whatever his name is, and that was horrific. And because Thiago came on last evening, and he is such a magnificent player, and he's exactly what they haven't had from midfield. Now the problem is with the injury to Van Dijk and then to Gomez, Fabinho, they're maybe the best holding midfielder in the world. Not my word, well, probably is my word. He goes to centre half, he goes to centre back. So now all of a sudden, the Thiago midfield in Fabinho with maybe Henderson is not there now. But at the end of the day, I worked out quickly on what they've done. In the first 4 games, Liverpool conceded 11 goals with Van Dijk. After the Everton game in the league, they played 11 games and conceded 7. So they've conceded 3 less played 4 more games and conceded 3 less goals. So it's not defensively which is the problem, but it's maybe taken a little bit away from what's going on at the other end of the pitch. A 50-yard ball to Salah on the chest and whatever, and they've missed Thiago because he could have done that, But at the end of the day, look, if they perform in the second, from now on to the end of the season, like they haven't got to be brilliant. to still win this league. I think because they're the best team in the league, and they're better than any of the other teams. And I think there's still only one team. If Liverpool don't win, and that would be Manchester City. I cannot see Man United winning it. I watch them. I don't think they're hardly any better than last season. I have no idea how they are, where they are in the league. I cannot believe it, but they are. So fair play to them.
So we're just going to dive into the comments and see what you guys are saying. Laughing emojis are going everywhere. So Kieran, what does the future hold out there in Australia? You're in 2021 already. He said it's wonderful, Phil. You will love it. He's in the house. Fo Sheezy, he's in the house. How are you, mate? Phil has said, should have been the Konchesky final in 2006, not Gerrard.
Yeah, I was at that game, and yes, he's going to say it was a shot, but of course it was a cross, and that was unbelievable. That was because Carragher scored an own goal, and Dean Ashton, who I met last year, he was at a darts event at Norwich City, because I think he played for Norwich as well. He capitalised on an error from Pepe Reina, who was a great goalie, but was horrendous in that match, and ends up tipping one on the bar in injury time, and then saves 3 penalties and comes out a hero, a bit like Dudek in 2005. Sometimes it just goes for you.
Yeah. Kieran here said top table rate rubbish. Yeah, it's overrated being at the top. I think you just get loads of nosebleeds, and the altitude's mental up there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I've got a question for both of you, but Paul, I'll start with you. How does it feel? Obviously, you've got the second best anthem in football. That is You'll Never Walk Alone. And obviously first has got to be the iconic I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles. But how does it feel? How does it feel? I was there last year. How does it feel that 3,000 West Ham fans outsung 60,000 Liverpool fans with the best anthem?
It wasn't 60,000. It must have been a few less than that. But did they think they'd done it? I mean, I will say, in anyone who speaks the truth of any of the big teams, they say about the atmosphere at Anfield. It is fantastic. European nights are fantastic, and if they play Everton, Man United, maybe Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, whatever. But sometimes these fans get spoiled, and they do need. I think Roy Keane's quoted. They do need to look at themselves sometimes, because they go, if they're playing, should we say, a lesser team, which I think the words was used earlier on. It's like, oh, hang on, entertain us, and that's not how it should be. That is not how it should be. And you shouldn't have to be in a big Champions League game or playing another top team to get for the fans. And interesting you said that, but. The away, I always think the away support is better than the home support. I've been away to Leeds, away to Tottenham. You get the hardcore fans then, don't you? You do get the hardcore fans, and I really enjoy that. Yeah, and saying the fans in 2005 Champions League final, that's people. That's what Liverpool's all about. But it's not always like that, not always.
Yeah. Richard, your anthem, well, there isn't really one for Tottenham, is there? But how does it feel to kind of nick Southampton's one? How does it feel about that?
It's brutal tonight, isn't it?
We do have them, We've had 1 or 2 hits over the years as well, with our songs as well.
In the cup for Tottenham. Aussie's dream, was it?
It was Aussie's dream.
But we've got another Liverpool fan who's going to come on now.
Join us.
Thank you for waiting, Warren. How are you?
That's right, Jay. Yeah, no worries. All good, mate. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. But before I come to you, Richard, just to touch on Tottenham's season so far, what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a typical Tottenham season, flattering to deceive. We started poorly. We had a good run. We looked like we were going to go places. Suddenly, we decided to stop playing football and defend, and lo and behold, we started losing points. And I think it's going to be a typical sort of Spurs season. We'll end up sort of battling to get to the European places, but that'll be about at the limit of it. And I agree. I think it's Liverpool and Man City for me that look the 2 teams that are going to be pushing for it. Although nobody seems to want to go ahead and romp ahead this year. Everyone seems to be dropping points.
Not just because it was against Liverpool, but that header from Firmino at the end, that things seem to have fell apart a little bit from then. Is it a knock of confidence, or am I just thinking too deep into that, really?
I think it's just the mindset he's got in there, that he's got them thinking about defence and forgetting that actually we're bloody good when we attack. Excuse my language.
Fantastic.
I think the pace we can attack at is good enough for most teams.
Mm.
But I have to say, I watched Liverpool after about 3 or 4 matches into the season, and I just thought they were on a different level. The pace they were playing, the speed the ball was moving around. I still can't see past them realistically.
Yeah. They have goals from everywhere, don't
for
they?
the title.
Yeah, and I think
They do.
coming to you, there's defensive woes for Liverpool. Not woes, but I think you lost Matip again at the weekends. Do you really think is he important to the side? I see Paul chuckling. Do you think that you desperately need a defender to come in to win the league this year?
Not to win the league, but I think Nat Phillips showed last night. I don't think he's perhaps good enough. Reece Williams, I think, is been great, but the way Liverpool play with a high line, the problem is when you have Van Dijk and Gomez back there, who are quick as well as the fullbacks, if they ever decide to go in their own half, which stay at the other end of the pitch because that's where they're world class. But if you're going to play the high line and you have those two, Gomez and Van Dijk, you're okay. You're generally okay, but when it's Matip or in maybe it's a Fabinho or Reece Williams or whoever, then it's not okay, is it? But as I say, the goals they've been conceding since Van Dijk and Gomez have been injured is less. But then again, I suppose the 7 against Villa sort of makes a mockery of those figures anyway. But they did concede 3 against Leeds on the first day of the season. But say it's that midfield, and it's maybe against West Brom earlier a few days ago, and then of course Newcastle last evening. Is it the fact that player who just unlocked that? I say it again. I mean, I read something today. Football's better with Thiago involved, and it is. He is an absolute superstar. I mean, he played half the game against Chelsea, and I think made more passing at half of football than anyone's ever done in the Premier League. He was man of the match against Everton. Played a fantastic blind ball through to Mane, and then when Henderson scored it, for some reason it was offside, even though it wasn't. And he is just an orchestrator. He's different. He's completely different in anything they have. And if he stays fit, I just can't see. I just cannot see any team finishing above them, because they are player for player. They're the best team in the league. And Warren is going to agree with me right now, isn't he?
I agree with everything Paul just said. So thanks for having me on. And I think the points that have been made are spot on, really. I think we're probably taking for granted the fact that we had Van Dijk and Gomez as our centre backs for the whole of last season. I don't think Van Dijk missed a game, through injury at least. He might have been rested in cup games or whatever, but. And I think you take that for granted, and then when all of a sudden he's not there, and you've got to fill the gaps. And I think last time I was on, Jake, I said about we're sort of coping through games and we're very clinical up front, and then you've seen both sides of that with the 7 against Palace. And then if you don't take those chances like last night and then against West Brom, you get punished for them as well. We do give teams a chance in behind now. I think you mentioned about Reece Williams filling in at centre-back who has done really well. But there was one moment against West Brom where he got in one-on-one, and the West Brom attacker just had him for pace, and you're relying on Alisson, who made the save in that instance. But any team watching that, a lesser team watching that, thinks we'll get a chance against them. And if they take that chance, Sam Allardyce is just the absolute nemesis you want to give a goal to in any game, whether it's home or away. And as soon as they got that one back in, I thought there is no way we're getting on to win this game, And I think, like with the Palace game as the example, you take the chances 1 or 2 early, you get 2 or 3 ahead, and we're more than capable of steamrolling teams. But if, again, like last night, you miss those couple of chances early on, then it becomes a little bit more of a stalemate. And I think that's where you get a bit of the fatigue, where all the teams are playing every 3, every 4 days. They just haven't got that drive. Like so many games last season, we would have gone on and won 1-0, 2-0 last night. But you just feel the team getting leggy after about 60, 70 minutes. And I think if you watch most games, you sort of, that's the general trend of the games that you'll watch, that once you get past that point, you're not seeing teams really gung-ho, really putting teams under pressure. All right, maybe 2 or 3 chances, you're going to get that in any match. But there was times last season where we were going into the last 10 minutes, even if we weren't winning, thinking there's no way we're not going to win this game, because the amount of pressure we were putting on a team, you just knew they were going to give in. But even last night against Newcastle, just last quarter of an hour, I wasn't really feeling that, it's coming. It just felt like it was petering out, and that turned out to be the case. But I do think that we've got decent cover in Williams and Phillips, and I think they've done really well. But I think you really do, ideally, obviously, want one of your first choice centre backs in there just to pull everything together. And I do rate Matip, and I think getting with a free transfer is great business, and he's done really well for the club. But he's not on the level of probably even Gomez, and definitely not Van Dijk. So we are suffering with that, but we've just got every team has got injury problems this season, and will have going into the second half of the season. So
in Jota last evening, as a player, you think, it's not working up front, so we'll bring on Jota, and he's injured. And he's not there. And also the fact that Van Dijk is not there, it's not just what he is at the back, it's those passes. I think Arteta said when he battered Arsenal, when he beat Arsenal, when the ball, when he said we pressure them, we try it on the high press, and then basically you'll smack a 50-yard ball over the top, Salah takes it on his chest, and off they go. And he said, so we can't get at them, and also in the air, statistically over the last couple of years, the amount of goals Liverpool scored from set plays is phenomenal. And without Van Dijk, not saying he scored all those goals, but he creates.
I'm coming to you now. Before I let you and Paul go, I think you've got Leeds next. Are you confident going into that?
I'm never confident with Spurs these days. You just don't know what team's going to turn up. Leeds play a very a pressing game. They're high energy, a bit like we used to play under Pochettino. And that might find us out. Having said that, the chances are they'll leave gaps behind them. And if they leave gaps behind them, then we'll should kill them off. But it depends what team turns up.
Paul, before I let you go as well, you're a big MC in the world of darts. Is there any?
No, big.
Is there any darts players who are big football fans and that support West Ham? Perhaps, is there any big football fans?
Not sure. I don't know many. I'm sure there are fans players who support West Ham, and obviously, again, I'm completely biased. I've even got my Jurgen Klopp Erdinger hat on, so especially for you, Jake. But I was speaking to Stephen Bunting, because he's in the last 8 of the World Championship. He's a big Liverpool fan, and he phoned me after his game yesterday. So good luck against the Polish Eagle tomorrow for Stephen. And he said he's a big Liverpool fan since he was born. My dad was a staunch supporter, and I'm glad I followed it in his footsteps. Daryl Fitton, the Dazzler, of course, who played in the BDO, major winner. He's a big Liverpool fan as well. So I think if you're into darts, you've got to be in the football. It's how it works, isn't it? And the other way, it's the same sort of thing. So
Kieran said Bobby George was the last one.
Bobby George was the last one. What does he mean by that? Bobby George was the
last West Ham fan that's kind of in darts.
Bobby, Bobby's a good friend, and I lucky enough to do the thing with Bobby. Don't tell the bride, when he got ordained, and he actually took the service and actually married the couple. Bobby, what an absolute. He's just a legend, and the greatest. When he comes on to We Are, talking about themes and whatever, when Bobby comes on to We Are the Champions, we got to play it generally 2, maybe 3 times before he gets to the stage. Not because his knees are gone, but because he just stops and speaks and has the photos with everyone, and they love him. And of course, he's been on the TV a lot in the last few years as well. He's fantastic, Bobby. Great entertainment, a bit like those superstars from Anfield Road.
Thank you very much for joining me tonight. You've got the link if you'd like to come back on at any point, but thanks for joining me tonight.
Thank you very much, Jake, and best of luck, and say Happy New Year. Well done, mate.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
New Year, mate.
Cheers,
Thank you.
mate.
So we've got a couple more fans coming on now, but before I do that, Warren, just a quick question for you. So Liverpool fan, you've got Southampton. That's kind of your rejects team, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of our feeder club, and then once we're finished with them, we send them back. Yeah, it's tricky game, really tricky game, and probably Southampton have done really well this season, and aside from the top teams, probably one of the teams that we could do without playing, especially away from home at the moment. But the fixtures are what they are. I just think again we'll probably see a very similar pattern to the last couple of games, and I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up being a draw out of that game as well. It's just, I think, like Paul mentioned about having a slightly different cutting edge, maybe Jota off the bench or a different option, sort of missed that last night and against West Brom. So yeah, I think Ings is injured for Southampton as well at the minute, isn't he?
He's come back in. We played him yesterday, and he did come back in the starting 11. So I think he's there. Yeah,
so he might be back, which will probably give them a massive boost. So yeah, I think if we get away with a win there, that'll be a massive result for us, considering obviously the way things have gone recently. We need to win to keep stay out ahead at the top, but I think I said last time I was on, I think every team's going to drop points this season, and there's no let up in the schedule. Obviously, Tottenham's game was called off, Man City's game was called off, so they're going to have a bit of congestion coming up as well. So you'll see drop points at some point throughout the season, no doubt, with those teams as well. So it's one of those, you kind of just got to take the points that you get and just see how it falls, because I don't think you can look at any fixture at the moment and think there's a guaranteed win for one team or the other. I just don't think you're seeing that this season. You never would have thought we would have got done by Villa the way we got done. And again, going away to Crystal Palace and winning 7, never would have thought, see that result coming. Even when we were playing at the peak of our performance last year, away to Crystal Palace is a tricky game. So to go and put 7 in is just, it's ridiculous, really. So yeah, anything can happen against Southampton. They're a good team, and they can score goals as well. So you might see a couple of goals, 2-2 or something like that. I'd be expecting. So.
Yeah, so a couple more fans coming on now. We are, for the first time in the 9 episodes of this, dipping into the Championship with Clive, who's a Brentford fan. How are you, Clive?
I'm all right, Jake, thanks. Been enjoying the show so far. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And we've got another Spurs fan coming on. Jamie, how are you?
Hello, mate. Doing good. How are you? Evening, everyone.
Yeah, I'm good. Jamie, we'll start with you. Spurs fan, we just let our other Spurs fan go, so we come to you. How's your season been so far? And you played Leeds next. Are you confident for that?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think just listening to Wazza there talking about fixtures, nothing's guaranteed. Good to see you again, Jake. Last time I was on the show, obviously Spurs were doing okay, top of the league. And only in 3 weeks, it looks very different, doesn't it? We've had a very poor performance against Leicester, not great performance. All of a sudden, we're chasing. So I think overall, though, you've got to say, we game last night called off. So we've got a game sort of in hand. We're still in both cups. Got Europa League still. So you've got to be happy enough with that. But I think there's a bit of growing frustration amongst the Spurs fans about how we're playing and how we're approaching the performances at the moment. But, like I think Warren was saying, there's so much that's going to happen this year. Crazy season. So overall, happy enough. Leeds, very difficult game, I think, isn't it? Again, Spurs, I think, is probably a little bit confident now. The last 2 games haven't been great. It's an early kickoff, I think, 12:30 Saturday. Leeds is never easy, so definitely not confident. I just hope we kind of play with a little bit more freedom and have a bit of a crack rather than just sit back for 90 minutes. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, Clive, coming to you. You're a Brentford fan in the Championship. How did you become a Brentford fan, and how are you doing this season for Brentford, do you think?
Well, same as 90% of other fans, Jake. I'm a Brentford fan because of my dad. First took us in 70-71 season. And just gets in your blood, doesn't it? Just like West Ham's in yours. We moved, however, when I was 10, 11, we moved down to Frome in Somerset. And the only games that I managed to get to then was away to Bristol City, Bristol Rovers, Swindon, Cardiff, and Bournemouth. But when I was 16, started working. My very first pay packet. It was in the August, September, something like that, of 1980. Brentford were at home to Charlton in Division 3, League 1, the old Division 3. I thought, I'm going to that. So I paid me money, went down, watched Brentford lose 1-0 to Charlton, and I've just embraced the club ever since. And this last 6 years just totally blown me away, mate. I've been used to mediocre lower league football all my life, not bothered about it at all because the club's in me blood. And then a man called Matthew Benham comes along, and he completely changed us 100%. And how are we doing? Well, we beat Bournemouth last night. We're now second in the league. We're in the semi-final of the League Cup. We're 16 games undefeated, and we are steaming, mate. We are steaming.
Do you think you can push for promotion and get promoted to the Premier League this season?
Absolutely, absolutely. So long as it's either champions or second place. If we're not first or second, seriously now, if we're not first or second, I want us to finish 7th. I do not want the agony of the bloody playoffs yet again. 10 times now, mate. 10 times we've been in it, 10 times we've failed. Seriously, hand on heart, I would rather finish 7th than 3rd, 4th, 5th or 6th. Especially after losing to Fulham last year. But I don't think that's going to happen. I seriously think we could well be champions. Happened to Bournemouth, so it's not that impossible.
Warren, coming to you, just jumping back to Liverpool before I let you go. Your next game. Oh no, I've asked you that. Sorry. Do you think that you can win the title? I know Paul touched on it. Is it still realistic? Still doing really well, but do you still think you can get that win?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of a closer run thing this season. Than we've seen. As I said earlier on in the chat, that there's games we were winning, 1-0, 2-0 towards the end of games last season. We're not seeing that this year, and lots of reasons why, I think. And it'll be a lot more of a closer run thing. Earlier on in the season, I was having a chat with my old man, and I said, look, I see Tottenham doing quite well, and I was a little bit worried with the whole Jose kind of momentum and everything that was going on at Tottenham. It did seem a little bit of a threat, and out of anyone, I was probably more concerned about them. But they obviously, like Jamie sort of mentioned, kicked off, and we obviously got the win against them at Anthems, which was a big result. And it's really hard to predict, but I think it'll probably go right to the wire again this season, similar to the season before last when it went to the last day. It'll probably be within a couple of points, I think, and it can go either way. It's going to depend on what players, teams have got fit when the fixtures, when you come up against the teams in and around you. That is what it's going to be. So really difficult to predict, but I'd like to think that we'll be in it until the last day. If we can't wrap it up any sooner, obviously. But I'm saying that with a lot less confidence than I was probably this time last year. So.
Yeah, definitely. Warren, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's great to have another Liverpool fan on, and I hope to get you back on soon.
Yeah, no worries, Jake. Well, thanks for having me, mate, and Happy New Year, mate.
Happy New Year, thank you. So, Jamie, coming back to you, Spurs fan, you've got you said how your season's been so far. You said how you think your Leeds is going to go. Is it really possible or to win the league, or do you think it's really just down to Champions League spots for you?
It's going to be difficult, I think, isn't it? I mean, like you said, last time we were on the show, we were on the chat, and what I want to see us do is keep pushing to the end and not be Spursy and drop off. And we've had a difficult few weeks. So I think realistically, we got to be looking for top four, and we've just got to be looking for some big performances. I think January's massive for us. We've got a good squad now. We've got a lot more strength and depth. So I just think if you look at United, they've been under a lot of criticism, but they've come right back into it. One says, Liverpool not quite firing, but they're still putting the points on the board. So I think next, like I say, January really, but next couple of weeks are key. And I think realistically for Spurs, it's going to be pushing for top four rather than pushing for the top. But you never know. I think the season is going to be a really funny one. And if we can just get back to that little bit of form and winning games, you never know. But yeah, I think realistically it's top four, not the title. But fingers crossed.
Yeah. Do you think if you could even have a glimmer of hope, where do you think you need to strengthen in January if you think that you're gonna kind of push on for that stage?
It's difficult because we have got a lot of strength this year. A lot of talk about Bell and whether he has come in and added what we thought he might. I think it's still great to have him around the club, and I think obviously what we don't see is what he does behind the scenes with some of the younger players. But I guess the problem for us has always been a proper replacement or a stand-in for Harry Kane up top. And Son and him have been phenomenal this year, so we've kind of again a little bit got away with that. But that's the one that you always worry, Kane and the games we're playing. If he gets injured, how do we look then? Because I think around the rest of the team, fullbacks we're all right. Midfield we're pretty strong. So either a centre half or a decent centre forward. But January's difficult, to pick up those kind of players. So I think it's more about keeping what we've got fit. If we can bring Bell more into the team, get him fitter and fitter, and get him on form, because he's probably not quite been what we thought he might be.
Yeah, definitely. Clive, coming back to you, you've got, I think you've got Bristol City in your next game. Do you think do you think you could win that, and do you think you need to be winning that to push on for promotion?
Absolutely, we need to be winning it, and absolutely we will win it. The last 10, 15 years, we've been Bristol City's bogey team, and you can ask pretty much any City fan how are they feeling about playing us on Saturday, and they won't be looking forward to it at all. I think they beat us a couple of seasons ago, but that was the first time in quite a while. So yeah, I'm very confident of beating them, very confident. And seeing as I grew up amongst City fans, I can't say I hate City, but if there's one team that I like to see lose more than anyone else, got to be honest, it's Bristol City. So yeah, I'm very confident that we'll take them.
Very good.
I got one question for Jamie there.
Yeah.
Jamie, you've got us in the Cup semi-final. Are you glad about that, or would you rather have United?
That's a good question, Guy. And actually, you've got to be honest and say, when I watched the draw live, I was, kind of thinking that's a more favourable draw. But that's not saying it's an easy game. It's a very difficult game for us. And,
so you are aware that we've already beaten 4 Premier League teams, aren't you?
Yeah, and like you say, you watch 16 games unbeaten. It's not going to be an easy game at all. So yeah, it's difficult. I'm looking forward to it. I think it depends what sort of team he puts out and how we approach that. But it's definitely not an easy draw, that's for sure. But when you're looking at United and City and Brentford, you kind of think, yeah, it felt like a favourable draw. But I think if we approach it like that, it's going to be difficult for us.
Yeah.
Do you fancy it?
I do really, to be honest, yeah. Although I do think Jose's going to put a strong team out, because you got Marine in the cup on the following match, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah.
So I can see him putting a very weakened team out for that. So therefore, I can see him putting a very strong team out. And in a way, I hope he does, because the 4 teams that we've beaten, no disrespect to them, they're not really on the same level as Spurs. So you're going to be a real test for us, absolute real test. So I hope he does put a strong team out.
Yeah, you want that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I'm afraid, Jamie, I think the whole nation are Brentford fans for that game. But I'm sure it'll be a good game.
I think there'll be a few Fulham fans who'll be rooting for Tottenham, though, Jake.
Well, it could be. But
I've
Jamie,
lost sound.
Jamie and Clive, thanks for joining me tonight. And Clive, thanks for coming on. Obviously, we haven't had a fan from the Championship come on yet, so it's been great to have you on.
That's all right, Jake. I've got one question for you. After this, I realise it's going to be all West Ham fans. If you can, I'd like you to because I'll be watching. I'd like you to get a little bit about Ben Rama, because what the hell's going on? I do not know. You've signed him on loan, where you have to buy him for 25 million at the end of the season, but you're not playing him. And it's over my head as to why not. So if you guys can have a little discussion about how you feel about that, and what you think's going on behind the scenes, I'll be interested to hear what's said amongst yourselves.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. But Jamie, I think you've lost sound. Can you hear us there?
I'm back now, mate. Yeah, I lost it there. I'm back.
Yeah, that's okay. Brentford, I'm Brentford, Clive, and Jamie. Thanks for joining me tonight, because I'm now going to delve into all things West Ham, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 West Ham fans waiting in the wings. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go for it, mate. Happy New Year.
And to you. So it's got to that stage of the night again. We've got, as I said, 1, 2, 3, 4 West Ham fans coming on now. And the first one, Mike, he's a regular on the channel. He does the previews with me. Mike, how are you?
Oh, great, Jake. Evening. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. We've got Graham, who's also a West Ham fan. How are you?
Hello. Happy New Year. I'm good, Jake. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, and for the next guest, hang on, it is getting a bit chilly in here. 2 secs, hang on. We've got Neil Taylor from Long Live the Boleyn. Neil, how are you?
I'm fine, Jake. Nice hat. Happy New Year to you, mate. Lovely.
Thank you. We've also got your good friend, Danny Fenn, on as well. The Boleyn poet. How are you?
No friend of mine.
He's an acquaintance.
No, he's no friend of mine. Let's get that before we start.
He's never bought me a drink in his life. Happy New Year to you all, anyway.
Good.
So let's delve into all things West Ham. If I just get my notes up. So Neil, we'll start with you. What's your overall thoughts of the season so far?
Well, we're only about 2 games short of being halfway through, and to be honest with you, after last season, the first game against Newcastle was a complete write-off. But other than that, I think we played all right. Actually, we should have beat Arsenal. Unlucky against Liverpool, and we went through had a good purple patch, done really well, and then things went a bit boss side. But when you look at it now, the points we're on, sitting 10th, 11th place. Can't argue with that compared to last year, and it's work in progress really. So I'm quite happy with it the way it's going at the moment. And this is a difficult spell for us because the games are coming that thick and fast. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but Moyes has to rotate players. When you're at the fitness that these people need to play every 2 days, whatever, and that you've got to rotate things around. So he's trying to make the best of it. Some of his selections have been a bit baffling. The starting lineup the other night, I thought we were setting out as if we was going to play in a cup game, but at the end of the day, there's a couple of good surprises in there, really. I thought Dawson done well. So, no. I'm quite happy, to be honest with you. If you asked me and you said, look, halfway through we're going to be 10th, I'll take it. And we just got to push on for the second half.
Yeah, we have really. Neil, I'm sorry, Neil. Danny, coming to you. Do you agree with Neil there? What's your thoughts of our season so far?
I'm getting a lot of feedback off you, Jake. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can hear everything about a minute after it's being said. I can still hear Neil talking.
Well, I still am, probably.
Go on a bit. Oh, sorry, Jake. What was your question again?
I said, what's your thoughts on our season so far?
I'm chuffed with it, to be honest with you. Like Neil, if you'd have said middle of the table, this stage of the season, I'd have took that. We could have had something against Chelsea. That was a sort of misleading result. We could have had probably another 7-8 points on the board, and then we'd be proper sitting pretty. what worries me is the cup game coming up, which would be typical West Ham, field a weakened team, get turned over, and then the whole season implodes on itself. Hopefully that isn't going to be the case.
Yeah, well, we always seem to kind of mess these cup runs up, and we've got to kind of go at them, I think. Yeah, we always seem to mess it up. But Graham, coming to you, what's your thoughts on our season so far?
Yeah, I think as Neil said, enjoyed. Well, the Newcastle game was a write-off, and Arsenal game we should have won. But the first time I've really been disappointed was that Brighton game. Since then, we felt like we were the game that we should be winning, and really disappointed with that game. Actually, that's about the first time since the opening start of the season that I was a bit pissed off about it, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it all came from the starting lineup. I thought, Mike, we talk regularly on the preview, but what was your thoughts on last night's game?
Yeah, improvements definitely. I think we're all shocked by Dawson starting, but he's always done well against us in the past. I've always feared him, especially from set pieces. He's always pops up and does a bit of damage. And he was talking, he was organising the defence. I was really impressed with him. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah.
A point I was taking it, as you know, mate. I predicted a draw, but I thought there'd be goals in it.
Yeah.
I thought we played all right. I thought Ben Rama as well gives us a bit more when he comes on, but it's a good thing to have up your sleeve. So I can see why Moyes is keeping him back, but I think it's time he lets him go.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to come on to now. My opinion is Ben Rama, he's got to start. Neil, what's your thoughts on that, and how does he relate to players in the past?
What Ben Rama, you mean?
Yeah.
As that Brentford guy said, about sort of we laid the money out for him and got him on a loan to pay it up and that. Moyes made a statement which I put on my page the other day about that he hasn't got so much trust in him because he don't retain the ball. There has been a couple of times when he hasn't sort of looked around that, but he's got a spark about him. I'd never at this moment compare him anything to sort of a Devonshire sort of player, and that I wouldn't. He's miles away from that. But we've always been looking for someone to run at a defence or run into the box. And I'm hoping that he can sort of step up another gear. And as the guy said, let Moyes let him go a bit and let him have a go. Because what I don't want to see happening is West Ham. It's talked about every game we play in the previews. I was on Amazon Prime and I was watching it, and other games. Oh yeah, West Ham. It's all about set pieces, or balls into the box. I don't want to go back to that, the old Allardyce, just pumping balls into the box because you get found out too easy, So you need to mix it up a bit. And obviously, just touching away at that, I did crack up one of our free kicks. They said we worked on it in the training ground the other night. Yeah, it didn't quite work out, but it's a bit of a work in progress. But with Ben Rama, no, I'm as soon as he comes on, the old sort of it changed, him and Antonio and Bowen. When he introduced that, it was like we was only missing sort of Masuaku. Go back to how we were playing sort of 6-7 games ago. So, no, I think Ben Rama's a good acquisition, and Moyes should sort of trust him a bit more, really, and just let him have. Look, I mean, if Moyes let him have a go, and he was a complete shocker, and it just didn't work for him, and he had to pull him off, then the fans would say, okay, but holding him back all the time, not playing him and all that, no, let him have a go now. Let him have a go.
I completely agree. Danny, you're the Boleyn poet, and I believe you've got a poem ready to read to us. Is that correct?
Unfortunately not, Jake. Who told you that? Who told you that? You're dead. He asked me about the Tottenham one. Unfortunately, that is scribbled on a bit of paper, and I can't find that bit of paper. I never put that in with my files. I'll get one up on my phone, a quick one for you.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you.
I know you want that Tottenham one, but unfortunately, that's unless I can find a video for that and write it all down.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry.
What, you don't want one or?
So,
Yeah.
if we come back to you, Graham, your thoughts on
I've
Ben
got no
Rama? And for
poem
me,
either.
oh, pardon?
I haven't got a poem either. Sorry.
As I've put up there, it's time to free Ben Rama for me, and he's got to come in. Do you think the same?
I don't think that there was a problem with what Moyes did earlier on. We were doing quite well, weren't we? And then we had a lot of players that are performing all right. And are you going to try and sort of wedge these players in when you're playing well? I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go about it. But we've been a bit hit and miss the last few games. So I think he has got a spark, and he comes on and he does create stuff. And I think Moyes got it pretty spot on against Southampton, because we got more and more attacking as the game went on, and we should have won, shouldn't we? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it's time for him to have a go now. I don't know who for though. But, I mean, sort of Bowen's been hit and miss, hasn't he, recently? And they've you got Lanzini coming in, showing a bit of form. It's almost like the players that are on the bench are becoming less bit part players now, aren't they? They're all knocking on the door, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And we've got a few more West Ham fans waiting in the wings. But Graham, before I let you go tonight, let's have a review of the Southampton game. What did you think of that? And I believe we've got Everton. Is it tomorrow? And what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say I think we should have beaten Southampton. I think you got it right. Tomorrow it's gonna be a tough game, innit? I'll take a draw. I always take a draw, I think, away from home. It'd be a tough game though, I think. I haven't got my hopes up.
Well, I don't think we ever do as a West Ham fan, really, do we?
No.
But Graham, thanks for joining me tonight.
No problem. See you later. Happy New Year.
Thank
And
you.
you, mate.
Thank you.
Good, Graham.
See you later.
Is that a relative of yours, Jake?
Pardon?
Graham Cox, is he a relative of yours?
He is, you're right.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, my dad's just told you you've got a poem ready to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, God. Yeah, God, I see my granddad Neil ain't too happy with that.
Right then. So
just a quick one. What makes us different? Yeah, I'll just call it what makes us different.
Yeah.
Another fan recently said to me, I'm not West Ham, so what makes me so different to you? I said, when you bleed, it's claret, but with us, it's claret and blue. He said I was confusing him. Could I explain better what that means? I said, it's something that we're born with. It's deep-rooted in our genes. He said, OK, explain the World Cup then, thinking my bubble was about to burst. I said, that's pretty simple. Bobby Moore, Peters and Hurst. He said I was making up fairy tales. What I was saying didn't sound real. I said, mate, we go back to shipbuilders, real Iron Men of steel. I told him of the West Ham Battalion. Up the Hammers was their cry. And how we won the War World Cup final, defying Hitler's bombers up in the sky. He asked me of Cassataris and if the legend was true. I said, yes, mate, they'd sit there talking tactics with a bacon sarnie and a brew. Now I was in full flow, telling of a lion named Bonzo and the boys of 86, Cotty and McAvenny and Big Phil Parks between the sticks. I told him that we live it and breathe it and it involves everything we do. And that, my friend, is the answer. What makes us so different to you? That's that.
Very good. Very good.
That was awesome.
Very good.
So we've got Adam,
last one,
who
Dan.
joined us from American Hammers TV, all the way over in Texas. Adam, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I won't be celebrating the new year until a little bit after you guys.
All right, yeah. And I've just checked Anton from Irons United, and we're still very close to 5,000. Anton,
hi guys, how
you
you doing? Well, happy New Year to you all.
Yeah. Hello, mate.
It still says on the channel it still says 4.99, so it's getting close.
Oh, I haven't even looked, Jake. I've not even looked, mate. So I don't even know. I'll need to check it. I'll need to check later on. Didn't even think about that. Hope you're all well.
Yeah, I'm good. Anton, you were on the preview earlier with Stel. What's your thoughts on tomorrow's game? Are you confident?
I don't know where I'm at, if I'm being brutally honest. I heard Neil and some of the lads talking before saying that we would have taken mid-table at this stage at the start of the season. David Moyes has changed my total judgment on how West Ham are, and he's raised my expectations. And that's fair play to David Moyes for doing that. But then he's raised my expectations to the level of that I get disappointed when a specific team goes out. And I need to then remind myself that I support West Ham and we go through the ups and the downs and all that sort of stuff. So it depends on the team selection, I think, because there's no buts about it. Everton have got strength and depth. And we had an Everton fan on and he was talking about their team and, you know, the lineup that they may put out tomorrow will not be their full strength. But when you look at that lineup, it's still a strong lineup. And I think that really depends on what West Ham put out in the field tomorrow, to be honest. And that depends on my confidence levels.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as you said, Mikey was a great lad you had on earlier. And I think it's going to be tough. But Adam, what's your thoughts for tomorrow's game? Are you confident?
I mean, I think like most people have said, it's very hard to be confident against Everton. I mean, Everton away is not a place that we tend to do very well. But most of their players that, you know, have punished us over the years aren't there. I'm glad they don't have Lukaku anymore. And you know what? This season has just been such a coin toss. I mean, it's so unpredictable. But I'd be happy with a draw. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a draw because, you know, Moyes rested a lot of our players against Southampton. And so I'm hoping that the reason he rested them is to really give it a good go against Everton and go out and attack them. I kind of have missed us having, I never thought I'd say, I did not think I'd be saying this, but I kind of miss Cresswell being a central defender and having the two wing backs. Like, we played such good football that way. And since we've gone back to a back four, it's been a little less exciting to watch.
Yeah, it has. I think I was all in favour of the back five, but he kind of chopping and changing with that. Neil, are you confident for tomorrow? And do you prefer kind of the back four or the back five setup, Neil?
Oh dear. No, I'm not that confident. Purely because it is Everton. I know the guy touched on Lukaku. I remember Yakubu used to do some damage. It was Everton were just a bot to us. I mean, I know we got a good result up there a few years back, didn't we? 1-3-2 back up there, and was it Adrian and knocked them out? But it's a different ball game now. But you know, in saying that, Man City peppered us, and we got a draw. We was unlucky against Liverpool, so it is unpredictable. To me, you know, without the fans in any of the ground, we all want fans back in the grounds, but I've said it before, without the fans in there, a lot of people are not feeling the pressure of the crowd getting on their back. Like Fredericks can't, he don't want the ball when there's a full house in there. When there's no one in there, he's on the ball and whatever. But going back to the formation, we miss Arthur, that's for sure, because that frees up Cresswell. And I thought him and Cresswell, when they were on the pitch, they really don't. We looked a better sort of team, and we had a bit of flow to us and whatever. But reverting back to the other way is very negative. I mean, you know, when we started the first half against Southampton, it was just a total repeat of the Brighton thing, really. I thought, oh no, but no, it is about rotation. You know, we haven't got a 22 when you look at the bench, but I looked at the bench the other night and it was quite good. So no, I'm optimistic. If you ask me now, of course I'd always want the 3 points. But if you said now, you know, we're 1-1 draw tomorrow, you take that, Neil? Yeah, of course I would. Everton, you know, they're not sitting in third or fourth. They had a bit of a blow. You know, they done really well. Then they went off the ball and they've sort of come back and they've had a rest. So, you know, I'm just hoping really we can get something up there. But, you know, if we don't, we got to break then to the cup game. So is it the cup? I think it's the cup game. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah. So many games coming round now. So, but no. So, yeah. It's just Everton, really. That's the only thing. You say Everton away, and you think straight away, but you know, we've got to have a bit of faith. So yeah, just keep the faith.
Definitely, yeah. Mike, we've had all of these games, and he has rotated it, but it's got into the squad depth. It isn't there. We've talked about it before. How much more do we need to kind of bring in January?
Definitely. I've said it all along, Jake, as you know. I think we could put out 2 completely different back fours, which wouldn't be too bad. but the midfield is a position that really worries me. If Rice or Souček get injured, we've got big problems in there. I mean, you look at the defence, especially now we brought Dawson in. We've still got Diop, Ogbonna, Fredericks, who played well the other night, Creswell. I mean, the back four, Johnson, I like him. I really do rate the young lad. You know, I know he's just got to be brought in now and again and give him a little, you know, dip his toe in the water here and there. But defensively, not a problem. We need a central midfielder and a striker badly in January. I don't know, you know, we probably can't afford it with, you know, what we're hearing, but a couple of good loans maybe. You know, could help us out.
That should benefit us a lot. Danny, what's your thoughts on that? I think we need signings, even if it's on loan. I really don't think that there's any money there even to bring in loans. Don't you think? Do you think there's anything there?
I don't think we're going to bring anyone in, to be honest with you. Maybe someone from a lower league on a 6-month loan. Apart from that, I can't see it happening. Because they've spent a lot of money on Ella, which unfortunately hasn't sort of materialised into what we were hoping was going to happen. Anderson, nothing sort of come of that. So it's a lot of money. Basically, I won't swear on your channel, Jake, but fiddled up the wall, so to speak. And our owners are notoriously tight-fisted, and they're going to use any excuse in the book not to spend money. So unless I can get Neil Taylor out of retirement to sort of slot in with Ella up front, then
very good.
I'm a bit like you. Both can't trap a bag of cement at the moment. So.
Very good. Mike, thanks for joining me tonight. I'm sure we'll get you back on to do a preview soon, but thanks for coming on.
No, thank you, Jake. Happy New Year to all of you guys.
Cheers, Mike. Happy New Year, mate.
Cheers.
Mike.
Same to you.
Cheers, mate.
So I think it's time. I know Stel, he's got a very big thing with this, as he said on the preview earlier. Anton, Ben Rama, you're kind of in the middle. Do you think he should play tomorrow?
I think since we've signed him, I think he's had his bedding in period. I heard some of the guys saying about the ball retention comment, but you couldn't have had the first half against Southampton. Most of the West Ham players couldn't retain the ball at all. So there was a part of it that you were looking at that statement thinking, all right, Moyes, I get you said that, but when you look at the first half, Declan Rice gave the ball away a lot, and loads of other players did. And in actual fact, my disappointment was only at the fact that, like I said earlier on, Moyes has raised my expectations. So when I think we should be 5 points further on, but I'm not getting carried away. But if we had maybe had ball-carrying players against Crystal Palace, when you saw Lanzini come on the park, he made such a difference in the second half. When you saw Lanzini the other night, he made such a difference. But then against Southampton, he didn't. But that was because the ball was getting fed out the wings. And I think we lack that creativity out in the wings when we've got someone like Ben Rama on the bench, who you can see he's craving to come on. And I'm just praying, and I really hope that Moyes at least gives him a run of games and we see a little bit of consistency with his team selection. Because the thing I do worry about is when you bring a player in and then you drop them, and then you bring them in and then you drop them. And it happened with Sebastian Haller. When Antonio came back, he dropped him. He was finding, I'm not saying he was finding great form, but he was getting a little bit more confident. Antonio came back, he got dropped, and then he made the mistake. Antonio got injured and he had to bring Haller back on again. And it was just like you were resetting again. So I think it's time, I think it's time to see a bit of Ben Rama. I mean, we played Chelsea. Chelsea were there for the taking. We were 1-0. We were 1-0 down with 70 minutes gone, and they were there for the taking. The defence was struggling, and they would have struggled against creative players. But we didn't make that substitution, unfortunately. And then bang, they got 2 goals in a minute, and we were out of the game. So time for Ben Rama.
Yeah, well, you've got to praise Moyes in this, haven't you, really? Because what he's done, none of us expected. But Adam, coming back to the defence, we saw a very surprising kind of bringing in of Craig Dawson yesterday. What was your thoughts on his performance, and should he start tomorrow?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think he was horrible. I mean, we were very, very lucky at the beginning of that game that there was an offside that was early on because, you know, our defence got absolutely ruined by Danny Ings, right? Just like it was embarrassing. I mean, it was honestly embarrassing, and I thought to myself, oh gosh. People have said it already. Like, I think that consistency is something that is very underrated in a football team, and especially in the defence. I think that, he wanted to give players a rest. Great. I don't think he should keep his place. I think that Ogbonna and Balbuena have worked really well together. Or, to be honest, my personal preference, I'd actually prefer to have Ogbonna and Cresswell even as a centre-back pairing and try that before putting Craig Dawson back in. Because, I think that Craig Dawson was always meant as a squad player. He was always meant as backup. And I don't think it does anything for the consistency of a back four, just bringing him in just to give him some minutes. I mean, as a human being and as a football player, I appreciate that, the manager wants to give him he's probably trained really well, and the manager wants to give him his shot. But yeah, I wouldn't keep him for the game tomorrow.
See, that's interesting because there's a lot of fans that would say he deserves kind of his start again, because that's kind of Moyes tries to stick to his kind of what he's done over the years, and if a player plays well, they stay in the starting 11. But as Stel said earlier, he didn't do that with Ben Rama. But Neil, what's your thoughts on Craig Dawson? And I'm sure it surprised us all. But Neil, what was your thoughts on his performance?
Well, as I say, I totally agree with the last. I was exactly the same. When Ings got that, I thought, my head went down. I thought that we're going to get done 3 or 4-0. He then perked up. Dawson then was doing a lot of talking, saying that, Ogbonna does a lot of that, and Ogbonna, to me, can't do a lot wrong, really. But, Ogbonna does shout out a bit. And but Dawson was sort of taking over. But no, I get that. I mean, if Moyes dropped him tomorrow, Dawson, I think, well, what else I've got to do? But it's not about that. He's quite right. He was brought in there as cover. So, therefore, you've got to send the right message out. So it's a different game tomorrow, really. I know their danger man was Ings. I didn't think Ings got much of a look in after that, after the offside thing. I put something on me pace, and he never touched the ball after that, really. He never really got any touches. So that shows you something about, Ogbonna and Dawson in there, really keeping someone like Ings out. But at the end of the day, whole different ball game tomorrow. I've heard Richarlison's fit enough to play, Lewin, Calvert-Lewin. So it's a bit different, really. So I would go back to what the guy said, and be a bit disappointing for Dawson, but that's no reflection on Dawson as himself. I think, to come in, because at the end of the day, when he first came there, like a few people who came there, like Ben Rama, before he even walked out in the pitch, there was loads of fans giving him stick. Oh, he's this, he's that. Dawson's this, that, and the other. And to be honest with you, I forgot we'd signed him after about 5 or 6 games. Someone said, "Oh, don't forget we got Dawson." I thought, "Yeah, of course we have." But that was how it was going. So fair play to him. He's come in and had a go. I mean, he tried to imitate what's his name, Johnny Hart, kicking a guy in the head. I shouldn't laugh, but at the end of the day, no. No. If he doesn't start tomorrow, I certainly won't be sitting there baffled by it. It'll be understandable.
Yeah, this is coming at the right moment because I'm going to bring Stelios on now.
Oh no.
Oh, what's up? Good evening, all.
I've just had this comment in, and Stel's going to go nuts. Would you have Reed back? Anton, would you have Reed back?
Absolutely.
It's over. It's finished, people. Reed is done for. Only good
Jake,
for
if
the
you're in
MLS.
control of this, Jake, if you're in control of this stream, can you chuck him out?
Yeah, the only other team I'd say he's good for is the team that Anton supports. That's Kilmarnock.
Oh yeah, all right, mate. Yeah.
Kilmarnock.
It's better than being a Chelsea fan, isn't it? Still.
Oh, isn't it, mate?
Oh my lord. Stel, thanks for coming on, and I know you're with me with this. We've been talking about Ben Rama. He's got to come in tomorrow, hasn't he? The Moisaya, he's got to bring him in, hasn't he, Stel?
He's got to, but it won't happen. It was interesting talking to the Everton fan in our preview earlier today, as to how David Moyes was managing the Everton team, and he alluded to that Moyes doesn't like flair players. He alluded to how he uses certain players in his squad in the past, and so it doesn't bode well for Benrahma, doesn't bode well for Allaire and players like that. So no, we won't be seeing Benrahma start tomorrow. I'll be very surprised if he does. Very surprised.
Yeah, I think we all will be, and we've got used to this kind of Moyes. He's kind of been slipping back to what he was doing in like last year and in his first reign for West Ham. I think habits are coming back, and I just think he won't make all these changes. We want all these changes. It was positive to see Lanzini come back in last week. Well, it wasn't last week; it was yesterday, wasn't it? Or the day before. But yeah, I think he's kind of slipping back into that. And you touched on Haller there, Stelios, we've got the same thoughts with this. But the Boleyn poet, Danny, what's your thoughts on Haller? I know the fan base has been split, but what's your thoughts?
Right, I'll keep praising the fella up because I do feel sorry for him. I nicknamed him Hattrick Haller just out of a joke, just basically to wind people up because people just jump on the poor fella's back all the time. I don't know how he's meant to do his job standing up there on his own, but he does look so lazy and he's got zero pace. His pace is just astounds me. He just, for a professional Premier League footballer, for what we paid for them, for what we paid for the fella, he is very, very slow. But going back to Benrahma quickly, I would let the fella loose. Because he's a flair player who thrives on confidence. Them sort of players need game time. So it'd be like Payet. We can't sort of compare him to Payet, but you get what I mean. He's a flair player. And if he's not given the opportunity to do it, if he just comes on with 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there, he's going to be trying to do stuff. And if it goes wrong, he hasn't got time to sort of rectify his mistakes, which then his confidence is going to take a dip. As you've said, Moyes doesn't really like that type of player. So where we're going to go with him, I really don't know. But apart from him and Lanzini, there's no one else that sort of gets the ball, has a look round and wants to do something rather than just going sideways or backwards or roofing the ball forwards.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of these comments and honestly, you guys. We've got obviously over from West Ham United, we've got Stel, Suaku. The hoodies are coming, Stel, aren't they?
I don't know. You better ask Anton. He's the one in charge of the merchandise.
And we need Arthur back. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Folks.
Awful. Do you know what? I'm just going to ban Paul from the channel. That's what we're going to do.
It's interesting, Danny. We were in this Everton fan we had on earlier was also talking about Calvert-Lewin, how the Everton fans a couple of seasons ago were saying they wanted to get rid of him, and Ancelotti's come in and he's playing to the player's strengths. Interestingly, he's just telling the player, "Stay in the middle. We'll get the ball to you." And look what's happening. You know, he's having a great season. So it sort of goes back to Allaire. It's like, you know, if we did try to play to his strengths, there is a good player in there somewhere. You know, it can't be that he's just turned up at West Ham and all of a sudden it's become crap.
We keep talking about the home game against Southampton last season when
that's right.
Bowen, Haller, and Antonio played in that three at the up front, and that was the Haller that I was like, wow. And I think I was standing beside you at the time. Well, standing, I should say, sitting, but standing beside you still at the time, and I said to you, I was like, look, that's exactly what we've bought. That's exactly what we've bought, and that's exactly what we need to do. But it was like the next game that changed, and it didn't happen anymore. And I said to you still the other night, I was like, now when I seen Antonio coming off the bench and Haller coming off, and then listening to what Moyes was saying I'm looking for different options off the bench, there's a part of me that's a bit like, I wonder if he's going to try, maybe not for Everton, but maybe try the Antonio, Haller, Bowen combination again.
Lovely to see, but it ain't going to happen against Everton.
You're right.
I don't
right,
think I think you're right, Danny. I don't think it's going to be Everton, but I think it's maybe something that might be there for after that. Depends on what happens against Everton, and then also on the back of that, you've got the Lanzini and Benrahma potential partnership, and we've saw a little glimpse of it, and it does look like they play well off each other. and a little bit like that Lanzini plays off the confidence of another player who thinks like him. And that's what I'm kind of excited. To be fair, I do think we need to strengthen, but I'm kind of excited with what we've got as well.
Yeah, I think obviously up front, Neil, I'll come to you. I think up front we've got so many options, haven't we? We've got Fornals, we've got Bowen, we've got Antonio back, we've got Haller, we've got loads of players. It's just we want Ben Rama to start. We want these players all to bond together, but Moyes, he just won't do it. What would be for tomorrow, Neil? What would be your preferred kind of front line?
Well, I'd have Antonio in there straight away. Even Antonio, someone said that his hamstrings are like elastic bands, so you have to sort of treat him very carefully, easily. And we see that in one of the games he played. Just touching on Haller, I think Pellegrini built Haller up, really built him up a lot. Too much expected out of him, really, and which was unfair because most people that see him play in Germany, Owen Hargreaves is quite he's quite an expert on German football, and he said that when he played Eintracht Frankfurt, Haller was really good. A lot of people said it. You don't become a great player in the Bundesliga and then come to London and then all of a sudden some of the messages I get on my page, I'll let them go because there's no profanities, but he gets slaughtered. But Sheffield United, he was a god. He was a god against Sheffield United. So I know we're a bit fickle at times, but I remember signing many years back John Radford, and he was a prolific goal scorer. He never scored one goal for us. At the end of the day, but tomorrow, just clicking on that tomorrow, no, I'd have Antonio. Antonio made such a powerful run within about 8 to 10 minutes of being on in that game, in behind. And that is exactly what Antonio does. And defenders are scared to turn and run back to their own goal, chasing after him. Haller won't. He doesn't make those runs. It's the ball's got to be either on him and then he's bang, then he's lethal. But come on, do we really want to just be smashing balls into Creswell, just aiming for Haller? Because like I said earlier, some of these defenders now, they're top athletes, a lot of these players. They're going to suss people like that out. And, we need to be a bit more creative. And I think Antonio, just going on that, when Moyes came to that club, I remember sitting there weren't too far away from Moyes, and he said in press conferences that if you don't run, you don't play. And Antonio was blowing out of his backside because he wasn't that fit, but he's got himself fit, back into shape, and he plays. And that's what Moyes likes. And Antonio's dangerous. So, no, I would go with Antonio. I like Bowen. I think Bowen's he's playing every game. Therefore, that's why he rests him. I don't think Bowen didn't play or start the other night because he got the ball. I just think he's played so many games. He needed a rest. So, but I would go, and I would have a go with Ben Rama. But no, Antonio would beat me, and then if he has to come off, I hope he doesn't. But if they take him off, then bring Haller back on.
Yeah, Adam, it's it's definitely. I think it's a conundrum. Would you bring Antonio back in? Do you think, or is it too early, or what would you do? Because it's a massive puzzle that Moyes has got to piece together for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think. It all comes down to his fitness, and no one knows that apart from Antonio and the fitness staff, like at West Ham, which, let's be honest, over the years clearly haven't been great at their jobs. If he's fit, he's got to play because he's just so much more dangerous. We're not going to be like chasing the game, and a team like Everton, we're going to rely on a counter attack, and Antonio's perfect for that. And it would be nice to have. I'm not a fan of Ben Rama so far. He's looked to me like one of those that potentially he could have all the gear and no idea. But I would like to see him get a few games to see how it goes. And I would quite like to start tomorrow with Antonio up top. And then I'd quite like to see Bowen and Ben Rama.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I would like. It's probably not going to happen. But I'm excited. Unlike you guys who are probably all locked down, we're going to the pub for the game tomorrow. So
lucky you.
Cheers, Adam. Cheers, mate.
We decided we're all going to Uber as well, and so we're yeah, we're gonna see in the new year in a pub watching West Ham together. So
Yeah, thanks for that.
Well, look, I don't get to go to the stadium very much. I mean, I know obviously now no one does, but it's nice being in far away the other side of the Atlantic, but still getting to get some people together and watch a game. So I'll have an extra. We'll have shots for all of you, except for you, Jake, because you're not old enough.
Jake, mate, sorry, I need to leave, but listen, I want to wish you all Happy New Year. So all the best. And
Same to you, mate.
everyone.
Yeah,
And you,
Cheers for that. Cheers, Jake.
Thanks, Adam. Well, yeah, well, Adam, tier 4's fun as it is over here, but yeah, I'm sure you'll have a good time in the pub.
I'm excited.
So, Stel, coming back to you, Antonio, does he start tomorrow?
Not for me. Not because I don't want him to, but I just think it'll be too soon. I think if we start him tomorrow, if he breaks down again like he did at the Villa game, he'll be out for another 2 months, and then we'll be without him. Mind you, we've got Josh King coming in next week, haven't we? So he'll be the Antonio number 2. But in all honesty, I get why people want Antonio back, because the boy doesn't stop running, does he? But my fear is, just like it happened at Villa, he'll come on half an hour in, he'll snap that hamstring, and he'll be out again for God knows how long. That's the only thing I fear about him. You know, I hear what you said, Neil. He did that massive run, and as soon as he did that run, I was like, oh my God, here we go. He's going to pull up any minute now. He's going to pull up, you know, and that's the fear with Antonio. Yeah. So
yeah,
I just kind of really wish that Moyes had found an alternative way of utilising Allaire, because I reckon that lad's got 15 goals in him if he was used in the right way. But you know, it's getting too late for him now.
Doesn't fit Moyes' style of play, really.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just leave him up on his own. He's Moyes' style.
Yeah, and that ain't as you said, he comes from Bundesliga. He was playing at 2 or 3 up top, and he was not only scoring for fun, but he was actually, you know, assisting. It got something like 20 assists or something ridiculous. You know, the Bundesliga ain't an easy league to play in, and he did it there. And I think he did it in the Dutch league before he went to Germany. So he is a good player, but it's just a shame, you know. But I've got a feeling Antonio will start. I just fear that I just hope he doesn't break down. I really do.
Well, just from coming on for the 15 minutes that he did, it was nice. It was refreshing for me, just running down. He was only running 75%, I think, maximum. But I think it's just nice to have a ball up there. He won all of his headers in that 15 minutes. It's like, this is what we've missed. I think if he could have stayed fit, I think we could. And if we could have kind of, in them early stages of the season, got a couple more points that we kind of deserved and should have got out of the games, I think that we could be very high up there. And I think that it's,
such a young lad. You've got such a wise head. You speak
didn't he?
So much. You've got such a knowledgeable football brain. You actually, bemused me, mate.
Thank you.
Yes.
And, I say, well, Anton the salesman's gone, but it's a great mug on the Irons United website. I know you love it.
Nice little plug there, Jake. Thank you, mate. Don't tell Neil, though. He'll get you to plug his stuff instead.
I'm being a bit harsh on our Adam here. I can see comments I'm choosing to ignore you.
I can take it.
I got it on the Irons United shop. They are very, very nice. And the in the know at Irons United is telling me that there's some beer glasses and lemonade.
There's no in the nose at Irons United, mate. We hear what other people say and then we just repeat it.
According to Flo, there's some in the know in that brain of Stella Suaku there.
That comment, lads, is because I've not been the greatest Masuaku fan of all time. I've always taken an opportunity to say what I think about him, but this season I've been shut up completely because he's a changed man, isn't he?
Yep.
I can't believe how Masuaku has transformed himself, or Moyes has.
Exactly the same. I could never stand the bloke because we bought him as a left back, and he was never a left back.
Never.
And suddenly he's up and down. He's putting the ball in. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I love the way he's being utilised now. Sadly, again, typical us, he just finds his place and then he's injured.
He gets injured. that is so West Ham, isn't it? You know.
Well, I mean, if the luck would have been on our side, and I think we would have had Masuaku there, I think that it's there. I think we really could be top 6 at the moment, because looking back, that Arsenal game, we should have at least got a point from that.
Yeah.
All the other games, I think we've rode our luck. We've rode our luck with some of these games, but I think if a bit more luck would have been on our side, I think we could be much higher. What have we got here? Photo is saying, okay. That's on the way shortly.
There will be no hoodies, mate. Absolutely not.
See in the comments they on the match day live a couple of days ago, they wanted car air fresheners as well.
Yeah, well, one of the lads was getting carried away. He was talking about a whole range of products that he wanted us to produce, and I'm like, no, you're going to get a coffee mug, and that's that, you know.
Very good. Very good. So yeah, obviously we've talked about this now. We'll go back to the Everton game and we'll give our predictions. So Adam, we'll start with you. What's your prediction? And is the mighty Haller going to score?
I'm going to say yes. He's going to score. I mean, it's more of a hopeful yes than a do I think he's actually going to score. I'm saying it in the hope that I'm willing it to happen. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm feeling in a positive, good mood. It's peeing it down outside. It's cold. It's miserable, but not in my warm heart. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to West Ham United. It's more of what I want to happen rather than what I think will happen. But yeah, 2-1 to West Ham. Come on.
Yeah, well, I think it's for all of it, it's what we want to happen with everything, with the starting lineup, with everything, with Moyes. But Neil, hit us with your prediction.
Oh dear. Oh, I can see Everton scoring, but I'll go 1-1 and Bowen to score, Russ.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bowen is such an underrated player. I think
he's due a goal. Bowen's due a goal. His work rate's there. He can, he's been unlucky a couple of times. A couple of times I've looked at Bowen now and thought, yeah, could have laid something off rather than have a go at it. But no, he's due a goal. So hopefully it's tomorrow. So 1-1 Bowen. Yeah, that'll do it for me.
Yeah, well, I think just touching on that, I know I'm rambling now, but I think with that attack there, he's so underrated. He doesn't get the goals, but it's just what he does there. And my opinion on Pablo Fornals is probably not the best as some other people. I think he puts the work in, but sometimes I don't think that's enough. But I know people have different opinions on that. But we'll come to you, Danny. What's your prediction for tomorrow?
Well, I'll post up on Long Live the Boleyn that it'll be a 3-0 away win, Alatric, but being truthful now, as far as I'm aware, in my lifetime, and I'm a lot younger than Neil, but probably a lot older than Adam, a lot younger than Neil. Look at him rolling his eyes. I think we've won on Merseyside about 3 or 4 times, if that, in my entire lifetime. Maybe 3 times, I think, in 53 years. So, being honest, I can see us probably getting a bit of a pasting tomorrow with their 2 fellas up front. What's his name? So Calvert-Lewin, what's the other one's name? The moody-looking one?
Richarlison.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's a proper pacey, go-at-'em type striker, and I can see him proper ripping.
Well, we done all right against Liverpool up in Merseyside, so we shouldn't have really lost that game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
But there you go. That's always the story up there, isn't it? We
beat Everton, didn't we? Beat them. We beat them or come back to draw them a few years back, 3-2, didn't we? Win?
Yeah, 3-1, wasn't it? A couple of years ago.
3-1.
Yeah. So 3 seasons ago, and we beat Liverpool early on in the season about 5 years ago. Apart from that, I can't really remember any sort of. I'm being honest. I can see that Richarlison and the other fella up front, whoever's alongside on Bonner, he's going to have their work cut out tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's coming back. I say it week after week. I think perhaps he could have had like Southampton off. I think, but he's always got that one big player. I think that he's got to have him in his pocket. That's going to cause them problems. And no word of a lie, Ogbonna. I think he's the best player in our team. Him and Rice.
Brilliant season.
He is just absolutely brilliant, I think. And when kind of Boleyn isn't performing or the other centre back isn't performing, you can always guarantee you'll get a 9 or 10 out of 10 from Ogbonna. And I think, he's just amazing. But still, hit us with your prediction.
Well, I'm going with Adam. I said it earlier as well. I reckon we'll sneak a 2-1. It ain't going to be a goalless draw without a shadow of a doubt. They'll score. But I've just got a feeling that, you know, even though they've had a week off, Moyes has rested a few players. So we're going to have about 3 or 4 players coming back. And I think it's going to be counter-attacking. We're going to have about 20% possession. And we'll probably beat them. Like 89th minute, comes off the arse of Antonio or something like that. For a 2-1 win.
It's like you just said though, like, you know, their match obviously got postponed against Man City, and so sometimes you look at it thinking, well, they've had a week off, but actually it can count against them.
Doesn't always work that way, does it? Yeah, it doesn't always work that way.
You're right.
I'm going to have to go. I've got a knock at my door, so I wish you all happy New Year.
Same to you, Danny.
The police.
Knock on his door.
No, it's my missus. It's my missus. I've got to let her in.
You haven't given her a door key. She doesn't have her own door key.
I told her I was doing this, and I said, "Don't come bursting in because I'm on the laptop." She said, "Yeah, what are you up to on the laptop?" I said, "Oh, don't." Right, take care, all.
Cheers, Danny. Happy New Year.
All the best.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. And I've got to go too, mate, because my dinner's on the table. And the missus is calling me. So thank you for inviting me on. Have a great New Year, everyone. And we'll see you. Well, probably see you tomorrow, Jake.
Yep.
Happy New Year to you.
I'd just like to say we're up to an hour and 42. We're coming into Stell show contention here.
No chance. Thank you, chaps. See you later, people. Happy New Year to you all.
Cheers. So I think that's about it, guys. You got any last thoughts about the game or anything we've talked about tonight?
No. Just got to keep cracking on and hopefully play a bit of a stronger side in the cup. I'd like to see us give it a go in the cup and let combination what they were talking about earlier, and then see how we get on tomorrow, and then perhaps try that combination in the cup and have a go. Just try to do a few different things. Stockport. I've said this before. You can't look at round 4 because banana skins West Ham. But we can't be as bad as we was against Wimbledon. Let's be fair. So have a go, have a crack at it, get the more out of the way, and then settle down and then go into the cup on a positive note, just to give people a bit of a lift, really.
Definitely. Yeah, Adam, have you got anything to quickly say?
Well, I've got. Do you want to see my my little Christmas present to myself, which I'm hoping is a good luck charm? Just arrived.
Oh.
This is Lanzini's shirt from the Tottenham match.
Oh, wow.
Signed.
That's proper.
So that's the one when he hit that banger against Lloris, threw it off.
Good.
There it is, the official
that's a proper,
shirt.
Yeah, good one.
That's great.
Bit of West Ham history, so it's not in the frame yet, but I only got it yesterday.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. Adam and Neil, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and have a happy New Year.
Thank you, Jake.
Jake. Top man. Top man.
Legend.
Cheers, Jake.
Thank you. So before I do end this, I'm just going to head through some of the comments. I'm not going to go all the way up to the top because I'll be here all night and I'll do a 3-hour Stell show. But Thomas said, great show, Jake. Well done, mate. Would love to see Antonio start, but agree with Stell. He should come on from bench and ease back. Desperate to see Ben Rama start. Yeah, same here. So let's go on to the predictions then, shall we? WMP, both counter-attacking teams, New Year games can fall flat 0-0 or 1-1. That could be the case. Tom's going 3-1 Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin brace. Really hope I'm wrong and we win. Foe, come on, Foe. I know it's your rule, but it's Christmas, it's New Year. Can't you break your rule? Kieran 1-1 hanging on. I think that could be the case. In 1-1 draw. Kieran has said Happy New Year to you all, best young Jake. Thank you very much. Oh, and I just missed that one there. Ben has said 1-2 Rice and Haller. So yeah, that has been great. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Fo, Philip, Words and Pictures, everyone, Kieran, everyone. I'm doing a 1 hour and 35-minute show. It's usually just an hour, but it's been great tonight. I've had loads of West Ham fans on, and it's just been an absolute ball. Adam, love it as always. Great job, Jake. Looking forward to being back on soon. Absolutely, Adam. Thank you very much. And before I go, please subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you haven't already. It's been a great night. Subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I believe we are on 464. Let me just have a look. 464 subscribers we are on. So I will see you tomorrow. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at midday. I'm doing a preview for, and yeah, he's here. See you. Oh, hang on, that's just not worked. Phil is coming on tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Or should I say next year? Yeah, next year, as I was going to say, 12 o'clock midday tomorrow. Tune in. We've got an Everton fan coming on, and we've got Phil Demacoli coming on as well to give his thoughts about tomorrow's game. But I've pretty much said my thoughts tonight. But that is going to do it. Thank you very much. Bye, chaps. Thank you, Kieran, and I will see you tomorrow. And if not, then even later on for the review. And Lee's just got one last comment. Thanks, Jake. Be lucky. Come on, you Irons. 2-1. So that's it. One last thing. This is the last video for 2020. It's been a mad couple of months starting up this channel from September. We've gone from 100 subscribers to nearly 500. It's been an absolute ball. A happy new year to you all. I hope you have a great night if you're in England, tier 4, I'm sure you'll have a ball of a night. But I will see you very, very soon for a brand new video. And there's only one thing left to say. I'm going to get myself a drink, and yeah. Come on, you Irons.